I would like to remind everyone, the members of the audience have this opportunity to have 3 minutes to comment to the board on anything that's on the agenda or not on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Kind of the rules of the game are you can criticize the board, you can criticize the superintendent, but please do not criticize individual staff members and so forth. You're also welcome to say thank you to board members or staff if you'd like to point people out that you really appreciate what they've done. So when you come to the microphone, please state your name clearly and your address. That's all I ask. So Scarlett Shepard, you're first on the list.
I'm Scarlett Shepard, and my address is 11415 Mill Place, Anderson Island, 98303. So, thank you. So, thank you for having the wonderful opportunity to be here in person to speak with you. I'm a proud parent of Anderson Island Elementary, of my daughter, and I'm also part of a really committed group of parents, residents, and we really want to advocate to return 4th and 5th grade back to Anderson Island Elementary. And we're really urging you to do this right away. It's very urgent. And much of my testimony today is really a lot of these issues I've already shared with you and the board and various coffee chats throughout the school year from 2022 to 2023. And what I really think here is that, we're sharing our concerns about long, stressful commutes, interfering with kids' learning and putting safety and well-being at risk. And it's really time to make a change. And these are the following ways that our district right now is putting our kids at risk. Separating small children, right, from their parents, educators, and caregivers, and from their home for 10-hour school day. That is really unacceptable. Including 90 minutes or more, commuting each way, multiple buses and ferry is unacceptable. We've got to find solutions and do something different, because right now, what we're doing is not working. And also, the ferry, has a lot of issues right now. And due to the unreliability of the ferry, kids are at risk every day with extreme transportation delays, being stranded, which extends their daily commute. And at times, they're late to school. They cannot even sometimes attend school at all. And it has become a barrier, a real barrier for accessing education on island for our kids. And it's unacceptable. We've got to do something different. And parents, we've shared with the board leadership and school about how our children are suffering unnecessarily through long days commuting in an environment that is detrimental to their social and emotional well-being and learning, and in an environment that is not developmentally appropriate setting for our elementary kids, which puts their education and their safety at risk every single day. And our kids have to go through it, and the parents have to go through it. So my final comment is we need to work together to bring back 4th and 5th grade to Anderson Island Elementary, fall 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person who is signed up is Savannah David.
Hi, it's Susanna David. And
Susanna, thank you for correcting me.
I live at 10620 Olympic Place on Anderson Island. My husband and I have lived on Anderson Island for 17 years this summer. And we love it out there. It's a wonderful community. It's a wonderful place to raise kids. it can be difficult for families to stick around Anderson Island because of a number of reasons, but one of the big reasons is that once, especially lately, last 2-3 years, once the children become 4th grade, then a lot of difficult choices need to be made. Families pull their kids out of the district. Families move off island because they just can't see putting their kids through these 10-hour days. And so, as you know, the school is there because of its remote and necessary status in the Washington Administrative Code. And there are other schools that have the same status, maybe 10 or so throughout the state. And in looking into this, I've learned that sometimes there's K through 8, in one room, which might not be ideal in some people's minds, but if there's only, say, 10 students, they work it out, with one teacher and like one teaching assistant. So I really appreciate how the board has been amenable to bringing the 4th and 5th grade back, like for example in the discussion about the bond, which didn't pass, adding even a new building as well as another teacher. And it seems like in our recent conversations, the board has been agreeable to bringing the 4th and 5th grade back. And I appreciate that. I guess what I want to say is I don't think it's strictly necessary to have an additional certificated teacher come. It would be nice, it would be great, but it would really only be for about 4 or 5 students, which, as we know on the mainland, I think the student-teacher ratio is like 25-1 or something like that. So I don't see it as necessary to have a new full-time teacher come for us to do this. We have excellent para-educators. Unfortunately, 2 of them, due to budget cuts, are not at our school this year, which is very sad and frustrating because they're really excellent. But we still have 1 really wonderful para-educator left who does amazing work in the classroom. And so, in my opinion, we can bring the 4th and 5th grade back even without an additional full-time teacher, just with the assistance of the para-educator. So, Scarlett has discussed, and of course it's been shared with the board multiple times, all the reasons why we want the 4th and 5th grade back. It's the 10-hour day. It's the learning loss that comes with the boat being canceled sometimes.
Point time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Susanna. Okay, Mr. Bungert, you're up next, sir.
Good evening. David Bungert, 2702 MacArthur Street, Yukon, Washington. I'd like to talk about the enrichment levy, the capital levy, and the new business. At last month's board meeting, Mr. Lewis said this school district is the anomaly when it comes to financing using levies. You really have to change your ideology. You need to, it's too late now, you have to have it all in by August 1st, but you need to have a technology, academic, and athletics. You are putting technology in this capital levy for buildings, but that's not effective. By creating enrichment levies, you will free up funds for the EP&O. Okay? How many para-educators can you hire for your SRO? Most school districts are financing the SRO as a service. It's not an employee. Most of them are financing through an enrichment levy. You could hire all kinds of para-educators. You could hire a teacher. You have to change your mindset. Unfortunately, the building capital levy, the majority of it is to pay for a bad decision with debt. So, please sell the McNeil site. The Manchester site is acceptable. Take the $4 million, if the capital levy passes, and start building classrooms at Cherrydale and Chloe Clark. And I don't know how long you're going to go, 4 years, 6 years. You could actually, if you do it right, you could probably add 10 to 12 classrooms, not modules, classrooms. So, a bunch of the community got together, we drank some more. I've been nominated. If you present any future bonds to build on the McNeil site, I will be the chair for the against committee. You won't have a problem finding one. Thank you.
Chris Weber. Next person is Samantha Music Siridakis. How close did I get?
You're pretty good.
Hi. Hello, my address is 11824 Lake Florence Drive, Anderson Island, Washington, 98303. First off, I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to our urgent concerns for change at Anderson Island Elementary. I'm also part of a group of committed residents and parents that want change for Anderson Island Elementary and a return to offering 4th and 5th grade. I've seen the school blossom over the years with our staff and unmatchable island community that supports our students and our school. And we've been able to fill the gaps. The students that live on Anderson Island should be offered the same education and resources from Steilacoom School District as the students that live off island. We have amazing, versatile teachers and staff. Our current teachers have been teaching multiple grades in the same classrooms for years. It's obvious that extending school to 4th and 5th grade would require an additional staff and reconfiguration of the space we currently have or another space. I personally have 4 young children who will hopefully be able to stay in the Steilacoom School District. However, like a lot of parents, I am probably going to have to homeschool my kids if it is not extended to the 4th and 5th grade. And just to have them, out away from anyone they really know for 10 hours a day is hard for adults, and it's hard to commute for adults, and even when you're in middle school and high school. And I've lived on Anderson Island for 27 years. I also went to Anderson Island Elementary as a student and all through the Steilacoom School District. And I would really like my kids to stay in this district, but I feel like Anderson Island's kind of been ignored and just treated like, we're just out there. And we are out there, but we are still in the school district and we still should be treated equally. And if Ferry is having problems, which it often does, there should be something put into place where what is going to happen for our kids. If that needs to be raised by parents or money from us, we need to know where are they going to go? Salters with no snacks? Because they're scared and they don't know where to go. And, how long is this going to be until it's resolved? We don't know. We can't rely on the ferry. Hopefully we got a boat or somebody to pick them up. But I'm scared to have my kids out there. I used to be out there, but it was a different world then. And I hope that you guys just put yourself in our shoes for a minute and consider our request and bring back 4th and 5th grade. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, at this time, in the comments from the audience, I do want to acknowledge that since Friday, July 7th, the board and the superintendent received 11 emails from residents advocating the returning of 4th and 5th grade to Anderson Island Elementary. And for the record, we received emails from Jessica Kinsey, Cindy Hardcastle, Mandrake Firm Holmquist, Mariah Wargaki, Sarah Palmer, Sarah Leaf, Melissa Miller, Susan Wallingford, Tiffany Wagner, Samantha Music, and Scarlett Shepard. For the record, I want to acknowledge that we received this correspondence and think it is most appropriate to acknowledge them at this point, the comments from the audience point in our meeting. On the advice of council for the time period that we received these emails, we have not responded to them as the advocates for the 4th and 5th grades to return to Anderson Island have engaged counsel. That's the Johnson George LLP law firm on their behalf. But we do have them, and they are part of the record.